Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Comrades and Sports. And today I'm joined by a student of the University of Nairobi, who is also a basketballer. So allow me to welcome him and have him introduce himself. Welcome.
I'm a fourth-year student at the University of Nairobi, undertaking an undergraduate degree. To add on that, I'm also a basketball player playing for the University of Nairobi team under the name UN Dynamites. My name is Ismail Akun.
Welcome so much. So maybe to start with, you can tell us your experience with basketball, or maybe you can tell us for how long have you been playing basketball?
Even before starting to play basketball, when I was young, I used to watch basketball videos and events because my dad used to watch them, so I watched them as a courtesy also. By the process of watching it, it piqued my interest and it somehow develops a culture in you. So when I joined high school, I started playing basketball for my high school team. But then it was just representing the team, nothing more. Since I had no other sport to join, so I decided to join basketball at the team level in high school. But since I joined the university, I found a well-established team, at least a team that can nurture your talent, nurture your ability to play in the leagues, in different competitions. And since then, I've been playing for the university team.
Okay, well, now you've been playing for the school at the same time you have been studying. So maybe how was your experience when it comes to balancing now the studies and games and basketball?
Nice you ask. In the beginning, it was tough when I was still in first year, because then you have to juggle timetables. People are still learning. You're out for competitions. But as time went by, I learned this. The sport gives you time management skills, such that when even you're outside there competing in the sports competition, you find time to catch up with your peers in terms of learning, the assignments they've given you, any other pending educational matter. You find time to help them to catch up with the rest. And I guess that's a good skill the game has taught me, and it has enabled me to juggle between sports and education.
But how you do balance between the sports and the academic. But I'm sure there are many challenges that you find along with you when you try to balance between your studies and sports. Maybe what are those challenges and how do you overcome those challenges?
Challenges will always be there, especially the sports, especially if you can't juggle between the two, the sports and the academics. Challenges will always be there, such that the game sends you far. Especially basketball, you find like you have gone to Busia, South Sudan to represent the university, and that's a far distance. Whereas the education part is still going on. So such that when you come back, you find that people have already done their cards or they have done the assignment. Such that in this case, you have to contact the lecturer so that you don't lag behind. You juggle between academics and sports.
Well, I also like to maybe ask this question, or I like to bring out this issue. So, how did sports now that you are into sports, how did sports help you develop your character and values?
Sports is a discipline. From the word go, sports is a discipline. It teaches you a lot. But what I can say in my part, what it has taught me is sportsmanship. The ability to interact and network with different people. You get to understand the diverse. Before even you start maybe kuonea msema nini, you first listen to that guy. That's what sports teaches you. And sports secondly teaches you to be a team player. You get to interact with different people, do different tasks. So long as the end product, you get to achieve your end product, your end result. That's what sports teaches you. And I believe that's a good skill anyone can pick from sports. I know many people pick different skills, but that's what I pick from sports.
Well, I just remembered something on nimesahau kidogo. So maybe has ever what is the effect of sports on your academics? Has it ever affected your academics performance?
A lot. There was this time we are having an exam. We are having an exam, and the league is so competitive. You don't want to drop out of the league.
Because I know when we have a competitive league, I was to kujua.
Yeah, so you have to prove yourself. And you know, when you're not there to prove yourself, there's a first year or second year there to prove ourselves.
Because, you know, also about sports, it's about competition.
It's competitive. So at that point, and you have an exam. So you have to turn up for the training, for everything. Even if it's a seminar they are just taking, you have to be there to represent yourself. But also, you see, you have to even have the mental capacity to handle the exams. You know, UN exams are tough. So you have to be there. So you have to, like, the exams, you find that I was spending a lot of time. My night time, I was spending doing my revision, reading for the exams. And my daytime, I was spending training for the sports at an individual level and at a team level. And I feel that has enabled me to shape both the academic part, the sports part is also taken care of.
Well, maybe now I can ask this out of my curiosity. So, what are the lessons you have learned from sports, and to be specific, basketball, because you are a basketball player?
The lesson I can say basketball has taught me is to focus, to aim. You know, even at if you're looking at the game from maybe Awijui, unaona wase wana focus wakirusha hiyo ball. You have to focus, to aim, to know the rules. The rules are so important. They matter. You just don't step. You have to know the rules. And I feel that this shapes you at an individual level to understand life. That you know life, you have to when to take the step, when to take the right step, when not to. You have to know this, and it at a life perspective, it enables you to have that decision-making skills. So that you know the rules, you know when to take the shot. It shapes your decision-making skills.
Have you ever been given any leadership role in your team ever since you started playing basketball?
I can't say I was that ambitious to be a leader in a team, but when you're playing, you definitely have the different positions you are involved in playing basketball. That obviously is a position that gives you that leadership role. And secondly, I've been able to be a coordinator in the team where you coordinate, you ask where people are, you make that schedule for training and everything else. You make the schedule and the inventory for the kits, the balls, everything. That's a position I've managed to help at the club level.
So sometimes it's hard, and it's even more and more hard as time goes. As you get into more competition, you find that the more you are into sports, the more maybe you are lagged out of, maybe you are lagged behind in your academics or your studies, and then you might find that one now it may bring any mental problem to you, because you might be having more stress on how to catch up now that maybe in matter of sports you are ahead, but in matter of studies you are just behind. So maybe how do you manage your mental well-being and your physical and mental well-being when it comes to balancing now the two between that is academics and sports?
The good thing about sports, any sports, it gives you the ability to train, and you know when you train daily, it improves your mental health. And secondly, the game basketball, it's a team sport. So you have many people around you. You have physiologists around you, psychologists, even your friends, your teammates. So when you are lagging behind in your academics, you ask your teammates, your colleagues, especially you see when you are in fourth year, at least you have catch up, you know how to balance, you know how to juggle the two. But since you're in fourth year, you see somebody from first year who is joining the team, and he has that difficulty balancing the two. So the fourth year guy stands up, becomes like a shield to that first year guy. He gives him the moral education, the ability to even be incorporated in the team, and the team gives him the support, such that if you lag behind, the fourth years, third years, they show you how you can be able to catch up with your peers.
What's your dream as a basketballer?
As a basketballer, looking at the community level where the UN is at, we find that many Africans, or let's say Kenyans, have not yet embraced the sport. And we can use this sport as an outreach program to reach communities let's say those who are disabled, those who are enfranchised from the community, those who are, let's say, not privileged, we can reach them out. We can use the platform as a health campaign tool, where we mobilize for mental health and everything else. And looking at a personal level, obviously, is to play in the major leagues in the US.
Yeah, you want to compete with
Yeah.
Steve Curry. Now, for now, you know, utakuwa na compete na watoto wa Curry na LeBron.
Yeah.
Because at that time, they are raging.
Yeah, that will be my biggest goal. But currently, my biggest goal will be if people actually embrace the sport at in our country level. People will not need to go out there, because in the country level, people are actually embracing the sports. We have the fans attending our matches, and that can actually generate revenue and income to pay. You know, other basketball players are actually not paid. So if people actually come to the matches, watch our games, it can generate income to pay our fellow basketball players, and that will be my biggest achievement as a basketball player.
That has been our time, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I'm your host, Laban Akiru. See you on the next episode.